guys, this is Taylor from Taylored Training Fitness, and as most of you probably know if you're watching this, we also have a physiotherapy department. And something that is really important to us is overall general health and well-being. And there's quite a few things in the health world and the fitness world that aren't necessarily taken care of properly and can be really sensitive topics. So something that, this is Cassie, if you haven't met Cassie before, she's our lead physio. A topic in fitness and in general women's health that we see all the time is pelvic floor health, right? And so that essentially literally means everything to do with your pelvis. Really common for a lot of women is during exercise, jumping, coughing, sneezing, that sometimes you'll get a little bit of incontinence, or let's just be honest, you pee when you work out or jump around, right?
Yep.
So this is something that's really common. What can cause that? It can just be natural, the way that your body's built. After having children, menopause, there's a host of issues. Those are some of the common ones that can lead to these problems. And something that we've known in the fitness world for a long time is a lot of women really believe that that's just the way that it is, that you have to deal with it, that's just life. I've been teaching fitness classes for well over a decade, and it's not uncommon in a fitness class, you start doing jump rope.
People run out the door.
And then half of the ladies run out the door afterwards. So what we wanted to do today is just talk a little bit about Cassie, because she's leading our new pelvic floor physiotherapy department. And our goal is to blend physiotherapy and fitness together and to let people know that it actually doesn't have to be like that.
Definitely.
So that is kind of like a common belief.
Absolutely. People think that it's their normal, that they're just going to have to live with this forever and find ways to manage it. So that's something that we need to tell people, that that can change and it doesn't have to be the normal.
Do you find most women that you've talked to, because Cassie also teaches classes with us too, do you find that most women that suffer from any kind of incontinence do have that belief that they're just like, no, this is just the way that it is?
Absolutely, yeah. Okay. They tend to think that they just have to manage it, and they don't know that there's so much out there that can actually help them.
Okay.
And oftentimes even,
so when we're talking about doing physiotherapy on this, are we saying like anyone that deals with this can for sure fix it, or are we talking like 70% of people, half the people? Like what's the outcome if someone does the physio for correcting the problems? So
a lot of the research shows that, within a short time frame, a lot of the research is within 12 weeks even, I think 70-75% of people get significant improvements.
Right.
And oftentimes it can even cure the issue. And that's just 12 weeks. Imagine if you go a little bit longer term than that. So the research shows that it really can help significantly.
And so there's multiple different ways to work on this,
for sure.
Right? So we have, I know we're using what we call biofeedback. There's kind of two common approaches. What are they? Like biofeedback, and what's the other approach if you're not using biofeedback? Like without the machine. Okay,
so basically with physio, there's different ways. So like Taylor mentioned, there's biofeedback. So that's using an equipment, a biofeedback machine that uses a sensor. And with the sensor, you're basically measuring muscle activity. And so then you can see how the pelvic floor is working, if other muscles are doing too much of the work, etc., and going from there. And so that's really effective because you know exactly how the muscles are functioning. And it also provides women with information on what works and what doesn't for them.
Right.
If you don't use the machine, you rely more on the therapist. And so so with that, you can't always tell if other muscles are taking over, because it's not possible to kind of palpate everything at once.
Right.
Yeah.
So the machine lets you see whether you're turning the muscle on.
Absolutely.
So essentially the point of doing the pelvic health, the physiotherapy, is to teach someone's body to turn those muscles on and then strengthen them, kind of like you would if you want your arms stronger, you do bicep curls.
Yeah, definitely. And some people will have trouble even, activating those muscles, and that's something that we can teach them how to do. And then once they know how to do that, then we can teach them when to turn them on. How to relax is a big thing. A lot of people don't realize, just like in any other muscle, people have tight traps, people have a tight pelvic floor. And so that's another thing that we have to work on, is teaching them to relax. And a lot of times people think they're fully relaxed, and they see the machine and they're like, oh, I'm not there. And then you can teach them how to do that, and then they can see it on the screen.
So you're saying some of these issues that happen are actually because the muscles aren't relaxing. It's not even that they're not strong enough.
Yep, definitely. It's both. think of any muscle, like think of your shoulder, think of your traps, you know, your neck muscles. They can be weak, they can be tight, doesn't matter. And it's the same thing with the pelvic floor.
Right.
A lot of times people forget that, or might not even know that you have muscles there, and it's a muscle. It works just like any other muscle.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm sure there are lots of people that would be really surprised to know that there is something that you can do about this.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah. And there's so much we can do, and that's the key, and so much that we can do to significantly improve the issue.
Right.
Yeah.
So if someone, you know, is having these issues, what's their first step to find out if they're a good candidate for this type of physiotherapy? Like, what's their step? How do they go about? What are they going to do?
Well, if anyone's suffering from any of these issues, they can, like, physiotherapy is direct access, so they can come right to us. You don't need to go see your family physician or a specialist, so they can come right to us, and then during the assessment, that's when I'll be able to say, yes, you know, you would benefit from this, or maybe not, maybe we need to look at other options. Most of the time, the truth is, yes, they would benefit from physio.
Right.
A lot of people don't know that and will go to their physician first, which is, you know, great too. But then a lot of times that leads to waiting for a long time for a wait list for a specialist before, when they could have seen us a lot sooner.
Right. So for people that are, you know, I don't want to use the word suffering, but dealing with these types of issues, and I mean, you know, we have a lot of clients, we talk to them a lot. This can be really like debilitating from a lifestyle perspective. Like really cause people like a lot of issues, not just necessarily when they're exercising, but just, you know, I'm going out to see my kids' sporting events and
For sure.
gotta go buy a bathroom.
I was just
right?
reading, like, Canada has a incontinence perspective that they did a couple years ago, and it was saying, I think ages 45 and up, more than half of the people of women suffer from this, and they were saying 1 in 5 suffer.
Over half of people over 45.
Over half of people,
Yeah.
and they were saying 1 in 5 women suffer to the point where it affects their normal activities day to day.
Right.
And so that's pretty huge. Like, I know people who literally have to think of, or they pre-plan where they're going to go, and they make sure they know where the bathroom is at every place. And you think that takes a lot of time and effort, and if you don't have to think about that and worry about that, that would be a huge weight off the shoulder, right?
Right. So when someone comes in and starts working on these issues, you said in as little as 12 weeks?
12 weeks is what all the research is based on.
Okay.
But, you know,
But so in that 12 weeks of time, you can see significant results.
oh, absolutely.
And then, you know, say you did a 12-week treatment protocol, see a lot of results. Is this something that you have to be hooked up to this machine all the time for the rest of your life? Or is it something then that lasts with the person
It
over
lasts.
time?
It's learning, right? So it's learning how to use the muscles properly.
Right.
And so once you've learned, you know, you can take that to more functional exercises. So, you know, initially we'll do it very basic stuff, but then we can move on to doing squats and making sure people can, you know, pick up their children while engaging these muscles and all
Right.
that stuff. So you can move, you know, from the basics to not needing it anymore. Yeah.
So if someone is dealing with, you know, any of these issues, you know, their next step then essentially would be contact someone like yourself,
For sure.
and they set an assessment process. Now, is there a pre-screen? Will they go through an interview or something like that to find out if they are a good candidate for this?
I always ask people a few questions, and we send out, before they come see us, we send out a little intake questionnaire that they fill in. So then I'll have looked at that first, and then the biggest thing is just talking and hearing their history, hearing what's going on, and then at that point we can say if they're a candidate or not.
Right.
Definitely.
And so then if they're a good candidate, you know, you're kind of looking at a 8 to 12-week process, and then is it a reassessment at that point where they are, if there's more you can do, or?
Definitely. I mean, as a physio, I tend to reassess every time I see someone, right?
Right.
And so you're seeing if they're improving.
So you're gonna know right away how that's tracking?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. That being said, we will, you know, near the end, say every month after 4 weeks, we'll do a more bigger assessment just to make sure.
Right.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Like, I just feel like there's just a lot of people out
There's
there
so many people.
that don't even understand that this really isn't something that they have to live with.
I know.
And you said like there's even more advanced forms of therapy after that. You know, a lot of women have pain during sex,
Yep.
based on a lot of these issues, and even that is, you know, there's things you can do to work
There's
around
things
that
you can
too.
do to work around it. Yep.
Yeah.
They don't have to have pain. So
Yeah.
it's pretty cool. And there's so many people, and a lot of people just don't want to talk about it. Again, I was reading that perspective thing on Canada Incontinence, and it was saying, I think, you know, so many people don't even go to their physician to talk about it because they're too embarrassed. And
Right.
it doesn't have to be an embarrassing topic. It doesn't have to be a taboo topic.
That's definitely something culturally that we
Yeah.
just don't want to talk about. Definitely, like around the studio in the last little bit, we've been having lots of conversations about this, and it is something that
It's true.
can be really challenging for people to discuss.
And it
right?
made me realize just how many people do, you know, deal with this stuff and think
Right.
it's normal. So I'm pretty excited about it.
Yeah, so that is,
Yeah.
it is really like
I know.
super
It's
awesome.
gonna be amazing.
Yeah, so that's really awesome. So other thing I know people probably want to know about too, we're talking about biofeedback. How invasive is this?
It's actually considered very non-invasive. It can be, people can be nervous, of course. So with biofeedback, we have sensors that we use, and some stick on the skin, on the abs, to see if they're being used too much. There is an internal sensor, but there's draping, you're covered, and it's pretty.
So we're gonna be clear, because we're Taylored Training, and this is, people don't talk enough about the details about this, right? But so when we talk about biofeedback, we're actually putting a sensor inside the vagina,
into someone's vagina,
right? But they're working with you in a closed room, and that's really the only way to get in and measure those muscles, right?
Absolutely. People don't think that the pelvic floor muscles, they're on the inside of their body, right? So when it comes to your biceps, you can touch that and you can feel how it's working. With the pelvic floor, it's not like that. And so we do use a sensor that goes inside the vagina, but like you said, it's a one-on-one just with me, and closed doors, relaxed.
It is. I'm sure that's a lot to do with the reason why so many women suffer without dealing with it, because no one's really willing to talk about it.
I know. Right? And then even if they do find out that this exists, they don't know what to expect, and a lot of times they're nervous or scared or embarrassed, and so it doesn't have to be like that.
No. That's fantastic.
It is.
So if you guys are still watching this video all the way to the end, if you have questions, you can send us a message. We'll put lots of links up for that. Physio at Taylored Training. That goes straight to Cassie. She can answer anything for you. From us in a fitness perspective, we've seen so much of this over time. We work with a lot of physicians that talk to us a lot about these issues. What's important for us to share with people is that this is something that you can do something about, that you can do corrections with. It takes a little bit of work and a little bit of time. So we're going to be offering that service. If you have questions, send them our way. We're here to answer them for you. We have a lot more information coming out. We literally, our goal in life is to make people's lives better.
Absolutely.
And this is something that we're going to work on really hard on this particular issue, and it's something Cassie's really passionate about, and us as a whole business is really passionate about. So if you have more questions about this,
let us know.
Please feel free, drop us an email, check with us. We were working hard. I know a lot of the biofeedback machines, especially in our area, you're looking up to like a 2-year wait list to get on this.
It is. It takes a long time.
Yeah. So it can take a really long time. We're working really hard to decrease those wait times as much as possible.
We want as many people as possible to experience this and be able to, feel better, move better, and live better. Yeah.
Thanks, Cassie.
Thank you.
So guys, if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to drop us a line. We're here for you. If you're interested in pursuing the process, same thing, just email us, or you can actually book straight on the website. And that is everything you need to know right now about our pelvic floor physiotherapy, pelvic health physiotherapy. I'm always getting corrected. So I'm Taylor at Taylored Training. Thank you guys so much, and we really hope that this information has been helpful for you. And if it is something that you deal with, there is help out there. We can work with that.
Thanks, guys.
Night gets darkest right before dawn. What don't kill you makes you more strong. And I've been